Basically, in other words, nobody's really been able to disprove the New Testament, and they've been trying to do it for years. And this name, Muslims have not been able to disprove it, and a bunch of seculars ain't been able to disprove it. They just can't. The more you try to disprove the Bible, and the more you can't, the more it strengthens the case that the Bible is true. You can just look at the prophecies of the Bible. I mean, that's one of the strongest arguments when it comes to proving the Bible is prophecy. You can look at prophecies that the Bible said were going to happen hundreds of years before they happen, and then they happen to the letter, exactly the way the Bible said they were going to. In this sense, the critics who continue to advance discredited theories relative to the New Testament conform to the warnings of Chauncey Sanders in his introduction to research in English literary history. He warns literary critics to be certain that they are also careful to examine the evidence against their case. He must be as careful to collect evidence against his theory as for it. It may go against the grain to be very insidious in searching for ammunition to destroy one's own case. But it must be remembered that the overlooking of a single detail may be fatal to one's whole argument. Moreover, it is the business of the scholar to seek the truth, and that satisfaction of having found it should be ample recompense for having to give up a cherished but untenable theory. That's where the Muslims have a problem. They're supposed to be searching for truth. If they and by the way, the Bible is true. So if they look for it, I'm going to prove that the Bible is false. And they're so strong on it, but yet they find a bunch of evidence that shows it's true, and then shows the Quran is a lie. They need to just say it's the truth, the Quran's a lie. Islam is a messed up false religion. Christianity is a true religion, but they won't do that. They're so proud. They're like, don't think of it. I probably did something wrong, and I'm just weak in my faith, and I just don't understand something. You know, they're trying to say that their faith, they're just kind of weak, and they lost faith or something. No, it's you just won't know except the fact that Quran is wrong. And here's how we're gonna resolve it. I'm going to give you here 10 facts that cannot be denied about that show the New Testament reliability. Fact 1: the existence of 5,300 Greek manuscripts and portions 10,000 Latin Vulgate and 9,300 other versions, along with the Papyri MSS and early Uncial MSS, dating much closer to the original than from any other ancient literature, proves the New Testament has not been corrupted. Fact 2: the lack of proven fraud or error on the part of any New Testament author generally shows the writers were trustworthy in what they wrote. Fact 3: the writings of reliable Christian sources outside the New Testament also confirm its integrity. The insistence of a number of Jewish and secular accounts about Jesus confirms several basic New Testament teachings. Detailed archaeological data concerning the New Testament proves the authors wrote with care and accuracy. The many powerful first-century enemies of Jesus and the apostolic church would have proven fraud or pointed out other problems if they could, but they never did. The presence of numerous credible living eyewitnesses to the events reported, especially of Jesus' death and resurrection, offers powerful evidence as to the truth of what was recorded. There are positive appraisals by conservative and even some liberal authorities bearing on the issue of the genuineness and traditional authorship, and the early date of the New Testament books further confirming their integrity. There are consistent scholarly factual reversals of the negative conclusions of higher criticism which undermine its own foundations and credibility. There are powerful legal and other testimony as to New Testament reliability. And these facts are discussed and provided documentation for every one of them in the books Ready with an Answer and the Facts on the Reliability of the Bible by Harvest House in 1997. And these facts demonstrate the accuracy and reliability of the New Testament behind reasonable doubt. But we're going to talk about the last one, which is showing powerful legal and other testimony as to New Testament reliability. Which is from former skeptics. Corroboration from legal testimony and former skeptics. We must concede that the historicity of the New Testament when we consider that many great minds of legal history have, on the grounds of strict legal evidence alone, accepted the New Testament as reliable history, not to mention that many skeptical intellectuals have converted to Christianity on the basis of the historical evidence. Saul of Tarsus, Athenagoras, Augustine, George Littleton, and Gilbert West, C.S. Lewis, Frank Morrison, Sir William Ramsay, John Warwick Montgomery, and others. Lawyers, of course, are expertly trained in the matter of evaluating evidence and are perhaps the most qualified in the test of weighing data critically. Is it coincidence that so many of them throughout history have concluded in favor of the truth of the Christian religion? What of the father of international law, Hugo Grotius, who wrote The Truth of the Christian Religion, 1627? Or the greatest authority in English and American common law evidence in the 19th century, Harvard Law School professor Simon Greenleaf, who wrote Testimony of the Evangelist, in which he powerfully demonstrated the reliability of the Gospels. What of Edmund H. Bennett, 1824 to 1898? For over 20 years, the dean of Boston University Law School, who penned the four Gospels from a lawyer's standpoint, 1899. What of Erwin Linton, who in his time he represented cases before the Supreme Court and wrote A Lawyer Examines the Bible, 1943-1977, in which he stated, "So invariable has been my observation that he who does not accept wholeheartedly the evangelical concerted belief in Christ and the Scriptures has never read, has forgotten, or has never been able to weigh, and certainly is utterly unable to refute the irresistible force of the cumulative evidence upon which such faith rests, that there seems ample ground for the conclusion that such arrogant ignorance is an invariable element in such unbelief. And this is so even though the unbeliever be a preacher who is supposed to know this subject if he knows no other.